Take a slow breath in. Let your attention settle for a moment. Now imagine you are in a conversation about an opportunity that has been developing steadily. It might be a partnership, a new project, or a collaboration that both sides have been exploring over several discussions. The pace has been thoughtful. Questions have been examined. Different aspects of the idea have been considered carefully. Then something changes. During one of the conversations, the other person mentions that the timing has become important. They explain that decisions need to happen quickly. They describe new pressures on their side. Deadlines appear that were not mentioned before. The opportunity suddenly feels more urgent. You notice the shift. Your mind begins examining the situation. Sometimes urgency is genuine. Circumstances change. New constraints appear. But sometimes urgency also shapes negotiations. When time pressure enters a conversation, decisions often happen faster and with less reflection. You pause before responding. Instead of reacting to the urgency itself, you explore the structure behind it. You ask calmly, what changed recently that made the timeline more important? The question invites explanation. The other person reflects. Perhaps a new initiative is starting internally. Perhaps another opportunity is competing for attention. Perhaps leadership has introduced a deadline that did not exist before. As they explain the change, the context becomes clearer. You listen carefully. Then you ask another question. If the timing matters now, what part of the decision feels most important to resolve first? The conversation shifts. Instead of rushing the entire decision, the discussion begins identifying the elements that truly require attention. Certain details become priorities. Other parts of the discussion can happen later. The situation becomes more organized. Take another slow breath. Notice how the moment feels different now. Earlier, the urgency created pressure. Take a slow breath in. Allow your attention to settle. Let the pace of your thoughts slow slightly. Now imagine you are in a meeting where an important proposal is being discussed. Several people in the room have contributed ideas. The conversation has been thoughtful. The proposal itself seems strong. Different aspects have been examined. Risks have been discussed. Benefits have been outlined. Gradually, the group begins leaning toward the idea. People begin speaking as if the direction is becoming clear. Then the leader in the room speaks. Their words sound supportive. They acknowledge the work that has gone into the proposal. They say the idea is promising, but something subtle appears in their tone. They begin asking a few careful questions, not objections. Just small points of curiosity. They ask about how the plan might unfold if certain assumptions change. They wonder how the timeline would adapt if conditions shifted. They ask what signals the team would watch to know whether the plan is working. The questions are calm, yet the room begins feeling slightly different. Momentum slows. People begin reconsidering the details. You notice the moment carefully. The leader has not rejected the proposal, but their questions have introduced a new layer of caution. Your mind begins reflecting on the situation. Sometimes leaders signal hesitation indirectly. Instead of opposing an idea directly, they introduce questions that invite deeper examination. The signal is not in the words alone. It appears in the direction of the questions. You pause and observe the structure of the conversation. Instead of rushing to defend the proposal, you respond with curiosity. You ask calmly, which part of the plan would you want us to watch most closely as it unfolds? The question shifts the conversation. The leader reflects. They describe the element of the plan that carries the most uncertainty. Perhaps the timeline. Perhaps the adoption by customers. Perhaps the coordination between teams. The signal becomes clearer. You listen carefully. Then you add another question. If we saw that signal early, what adjustment would help us respond quickly? Now the discussion becomes constructive. Instead of defending the proposal, the group begins designing awareness into the strategy. People discuss how to observe progress, how to respond to unexpected changes. The plan becomes stronger. Take another slow breath. Notice how the atmosphere in the room has changed. At first, the leader's questions slowed the momentum. But once the meaning behind those questions became visible, the conversation gained depth. You recognize something important about moments like this. Sometimes the most important signals in a conversation appear through quiet questions rather than direct statements. And the person who listens carefully to those